Hi, I'm Dennis Cohen. I'm a family law attorney and a mediator. From breakdown to resolution. The biggest thing that people ask me is how do they get through this without losing all their money, losing their home, losing time with their kids, or going crazy during the process. The first thing I say is, obviously, if you choose mediation, you're part of the way there. It's quicker, it's cheaper, it just makes a lot more sense. But beyond that, the attitude that you have is very important in how this whole process will be for you. There's a tendency to feel like a victim, but there's another way to look at it. You can see it as this is an event that is happening, you're part of it. How do you make the choices that will protect your interests and at the same time help you move on in the future? Also, there's a tendency to blame. It's very human natured. But if you can get beyond that, do the work necessary to forgive, to see your own responsibility in the whole situation, you're going to find peace a lot quicker. If you choose to compromise rather than to fight, you're going to save a lot of money in the process because you won't be paying attorneys huge amounts of money. And if you stay open with your kids, if you communicate, if you just be authentic with everyone, your relationships will go through whatever they go through. It could be challenging depending on what your situation is, but you can be on the other side of it through communication, through keeping your heart open, keeping your word. So if you're visiting, you make sure you show up on time. Your kids will learn to trust that even though you're divorced, you're still their parents, you're still there all the time. Making a decision to mediate is easy when both parties want to. Sometimes one's more inclined to and the other one's not really sure, is mediation right? The best thing, once again, is communication. What we do is try and explore what those reasons are, why someone doesn't want to do or not open to mediation. For example, maybe they don't think that it will be binding, and of course it is. We explain that it's the same as a judgment that you would get in court. Sometimes they're not sure that it'll be a fair result. Well, the advantage to mediation is you get to make the choices. Can I live with this well enough to sign off on the agreement? Sometimes there's a concern about people hiding assets. That's where one of the most important parts of mediation comes in, is we're able to really open a dialogue about questions that someone might have about, well, what about that bank account that I saw a statement for? In the legal process, you can do all kinds of expensive discovery and investigation. In mediation, you can really just ask the questions, because everyone who comes into mediation does so with a willingness to be open, to obey the laws of the state of California, which is to be fair with each other. That's one of the requirements. Why would someone choose to spend more money, spend more time, fight rather than try and work things out? As in most things, if you look for the underlying reason behind someone's action, you find some possibilities for solution. And the mediator's job, and I see it as my job, is to let people know what the law is. What would happen if they don't come to an agreement? But there's a misconception that you have to already be in agreement to come to mediation, and that's not the case at all. People can be upset with each other. They can be fighting with each other. They can not, have different ideas on how things should happen with the kids, with the property, with support. That's the process of mediation. That's why it works. Trust is an important aspect of mediation. One of the things that we have going for us in the law in California is that there's a specific set of statutes that say spouses have to be fair with each other. They have to be open and honest with each other. And if they don't, serious consequences can take place. If you try and hide an asset, you may lose it entirely. So how do you trust someone? Well, by asking questions and by knowing that in this process you have some protections. So can you trust your spouse? You can do so a lot more in mediation than if you're fighting it out in court. If you're going through a divorce or contemplating one, do the best thing for yourself and your family. Consider mediation. We know settlement works.